Welcome to episode 211 of Empty the Bench on the Empty the Bench podcast network. He's Tom Albano. I'm Nick Morgasen. Follow us on social media at ETB Sports, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ETB Sports. Follow us on the Empty the Bench podcast network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at ETB Network. Make sure you follow us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Make sure you follow our website, etbpodcast.com, for all the latest blogs and information and all our live streams coming up. You can go to there as well. And if you want to listen to us on our audio platforms, Acast, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, you can find us on all platforms as well. So a lot to get into. Tom, you've been away for 2 weeks. What?
I said, did you miss me after 2 weeks?
Yes. We have a lot to catch up to get to, and I'm looking at some of the stories for this week, and I mean, between Josh Giddey, Mark Cuban, Gregg Popovich, Aaron Rodgers, who wants to destroy my life for many, many, many reasons. Yeah, we have a lot to get into, so let's not waste any time, and we'll get right into it with Josh Giddey. So Josh Giddey, if you've been hiding under a rock, has been accused of having inappropriate relationship with a minor, 16 years old. The alleged victim and family are reportedly refusing to cooperate with authorities. The California police are now involved in this matter. This story just keeps rolling down the hill. The Rock is going to crush Giddey at some point.
Yeah, and Nick, it's weird because we don't really ever have these stories about inappropriate relationship with minors too much in the sports world, and now we have hit this for the second time in the Big Four North American sports between Wander Franco and MLB earlier this summer, and now this here towards the end of the year with Josh Giddey.
Yeah, this is not a good story. Myself and Paul Lombardi talked about this during the live stream we did the other night, and there's no positive way to spin this whatsoever. It's a negative story. It's a bad look for the NBA. They already have the bad look from John Morant with the guns, and now they have to deal with an inappropriate relationship. Now, let me point out the stupidity people are trying to claim in this story, which is, oh, well, Oklahoma City has a age 16 consent. Shut up.
It doesn't only involve Oklahoma.
Right. It involves California because, and you're going to love this one, they were in nightclubs together.
Yeah, a 16-year-old really should not be in a nightclub.
How did they get in the nightclub?
Fake IDs?
Well, that was sarcasm, but yes. But my point is that this story is so insane, and we all know who the big man in charge is not going to do anything. He's just going to sit there on his throne. Yes, it's an Adam Silver's. Well, we can't say it's an Adam Silver slip up technically yet because he hasn't done anything.
It's going to be an Adam Silver slip up because now listen. Here's what I'm going to say about this, and I think I have used this kind of viewpoint and reasoning when it comes to stories like this, where you got inappropriate relationships, or you got sexual misconduct, or the dreaded four-letter R word. You know, I understand the anxiety. I understand the trepidation about talking to others, authorities, police, about the matter. The problem here is essentially what you are kind of trying to say is that by not cooperating with the authorities, number one, they can't do anything about it, obviously. But number two, now instead of Josh Giddey getting punished because of an actual legal matter, which this still is a legal matter, but as you kind of alluded to, what they're basically going to be doing in terms of disciplining him is, I want to say slap on the wrist. It's either one, a slap on the wrist, or two, you're going to force, as I just told you before we started recording, Nick, you're going to force the Oklahoma City Thunder's hand, because as you just kind of said, after what we saw with the John Morant case, do you really expect that this guy is going to do anything?
He's not going to do anything. Now, the one difference, and you and I have had this discussion many times, where if he's not an all-star, so maybe he will get a punishment because he's not an all-star like John Morant. So that might be the differentiator in this situation, where I've never heard of Josh Giddey until now. That unfortunately, if you have to hear your name in this way, this is not a good look. If your name is being spread around in the news and it's on TMZ and it's on all the massive newspapers around New York and all the publications, it's not a good look. And I told Tom also that when they showed up for their next game after, and his name was announced by the PA system, they cheered. They cheered. Standing ovation. Like,
Hold on. No. I need to find the appropriate sound effect for this. Well, the fact that you say they cheered. First, here was my first thought. That was my first thought. Like, what? And then, what the f? Oh, yeah, here it is.
I mean, the fans, they obviously don't care. As long as you're wearing their home jersey, go do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, I mean, were they not looking at these before they were entering the arena? Did they all, in your own words, basically come out from under rocks to go to the Oklahoma City Thunder arena?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is not going to end well. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that yet. Maybe it ends well for Giddey because Adam Silver's the commissioner, and Adam Silver doesn't rule with an iron fist, as they say. He kind of rules with a couch cushion instead. So basically,
he rules. No, Nick. He rules with a pillow. That, after all the bad that the stars get to go through, he gets to give them milk and cookies and tuck them in and kiss them goodnight.
Oh, I didn't realize this was the NFL. But
how quarterbacks have to get treated, yeah.
So, I mean, better. You know what's better yet? They should just send them off to China because apparently they don't get punished there either. These NBA players, but
oh, wait a minute. Are you suggesting that Josh Giddey's next team is going to be the...
It's possible. I mean, anything is possible with the way these athletes act and behave. This is a bad situation. It's a bad situation because athletes feel they can do what?
Anything they want.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. They think they can do whatever they want.
How do I win?
Nothing. Ugh.
What?
Just misery and despair.
Oh, yeah, I love misery and despair.
So, I hate these stories. You hate these stories. I hate these stories. But they dominate the freaking headlines because the whole world is a negative freaking place. We don't talk about the positive things in life.
We can't be Mr. and Mr. Positive on this show. And that's because...
Yes, I'm aware. There's too much failure in this world. Obviously, I don't want to get into the other side of failure in life because that involves topics I don't like talking about. But this is just, it's bad. And by the way, if he is found guilty in California, he will do jail time. He will.
If he is found guilty in California, he should do jail time. They should not treat him special because he's an NBA player.
Oh no, he's gonna get special treatment one way or the other. Even though he's not an NBA star like John Morant, who somehow got 25 games for having guns 3 times.
And John Morant still cried about that.
Well, no one said John Morant is the Well, I can't make that joke. That would be insulting to gun culture. But my point is that right. So my point is that these situations are not good. Adam Silver's not going to handle it. And when we find out that Josh Giddey's going to get like a 5-game suspension, then we're all going to come back. We're going to scream Adam Silver. We're going to go grab our pitchforks and we're going to walk to the NBA offices in New York and we're going to demand he gets fired. But we know that's never going to happen.
You're funny.
I try.
I could already see. I can already see that the Josh Giddey, not getting much punishment, if any at all, and then you just hop on a live stream and you just rant and scream for 40 minutes, and that will be gold.
I did that for Morant.
I know you did that for Morant, and I bet you would do it again. And you did it for Aaron Rodgers after he got hurt.
Oh, don't get me riled up yet. This is not the time to get me riled up yet for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will get his time in this episode. Well, speaking of other NBA issues, well, I don't know, not issues, but Mark Cuban sells his majority interest in the Dallas Mavericks, will maintain control of basketball operations. Gee, he Dave Portnoyed himself. He bought back... Dave bought back Barstool for $1 after selling it.
Mm-hmm.
And now Mark Cuban gets a $3.5 billion valuation for the Mavs, which he paid $280 million for in the year 2000. And basically, he's going to walk.
Insane. That's to the level. Sorry, Nick, but that's to the level of what's his name? Daniel Snyder with the Washington Commanders.
Daniel Snyder, Jeffrey Loria. I don't know. There's so many take your choice owners, but the one difference is Mark Cuban, I feel like, actually did it right. You don't hear any scandals with him, at least not in the sports world. He's had a few insider trading scandals financially, but he's been a really good owner. He was kind of the first hands-on owner that would sit courtside and get fined by the NBA.
Well, because he came off, Nick. Well, he always came off as the fan kind of owner, which is not something that you see really anymore today. We got the business mogul, or we got the family, like the Steinbrenner family or the Maras. We got one of those two. We never really see the fan kind of owner, and he always acted in a way like a fan, where, like you said, he would sit at courtside, he would get fined, he would get into it with the refs. But you know what? Yeah, he's had his ups and downs here and there. Obviously, at the end of last season, we did a whole rant about the Mavericks with the whole tanking thing. But you know what? He got a couple of championships out of the Mavericks during his time as the majority owner of the team. So you can't say that it hasn't been successful. And he's still controlling the basketball operation. So it's not like he's out of it completely.
Which is crazy. So he gets a 3.5 billion, valuation. He's going to sell 57% of the stock. So he'll have 43. Is that right? Yeah, 43. And
it's 43, yeah.
He still will run the basketball operations. He will still do what he wants. Not that he really needs the money from the sale of the organization, to be honest. But you know what? He's had a good life. People forget, he created radio.com. That was which was bought by Yahoo, which is how he basically got his early fortune in technology. And he's done a lot, and he's been on Shark Tank, which popular show on ABC. Think about the turn of events. He sells his majority stock in the Mavs. Now he's saying he's going on his last season of Shark Tank. You know what? Maybe it's family time for him. Maybe.
Well, that's what he says. He wants to spend more time with his kids. And you know what? All credit to him, because like we kind of said, who's better than him at this point? Because he still has the basketball control of his team. He doesn't have the majority interest anymore, but he got a whole ton of money for that. If he didn't already have a whole ton of money, he's still on Shark Tank, but he's wrapping up his time. He's spending more time with his family. Right now, Mark Cuban has got the life.
I mean, it's crazy. It's it's a billionaire's life, and we'll talk about another certain billionaire who's not living the high life. We'll get to that a little bit later, but Mark Cuban's is an entertaining guy. Like, I didn't mind when he yelled at referees because sometimes they deserved it, or sitting courtside and yelling at other people and being a fan. And you know what? The the Mark Cubans of the world birthed like Steve Ballmer, who bought the Clippers, or Steve Cohen with the Mets. Guys who are fans of the team. I'm trying to. I can't really think of any more off the top of my head who are really the hands-on fans of the team. A lot of them buy it as business investment. Really, these teams at this point. But you know what? I don't really have a bad word to say about Mark Cuban at all. I don't know if you know the story that he also created that medical company, the drug company, where he
Yeah.
was trying to get prescriptions for older people and people who don't have health insurance for cheaper. So he's done a lot of good in the world. People just don't like him because he's an aggressive attitude sometimes. But in the world of business, you have to either eat or be eaten.
And
So
that's why he's on a show called Shark Tank.
that's true. You're right. You're right. I just realized I said that too. But all right, let's move around a little bit. This story is just, pardon my French, but fucking stupid because so the Spurs were playing the Clippers in San Antonio, and
Yes. And the San Antonio crowd, yeah, obviously we know the history of Kawhi Leonard and San Antonio. And the San Antonio fans were giving it to him, booing him as he was taking free throws, which you should expect anyway. You know, when an opposing team member is up at the free throw line, they're going to do whatever. They're going to boo and try to distract whatever to make sure they miss the free throw. But then Gregg Popovich gets on the mic and says, "Can we please stop with the booing? That this is not, this is not us. We are not San Antonio if we're going to treat, essentially say we're going to treat our opposing players like this. Stop with the booing." And the fans in response, Nick, booed even louder. And you know what? So credit to them because, oh, they're booing. It's not even like I'm mocking Kawhi because he wasn't the one complaining. It was Popovich, a veteran coach, a Hall of Fame coach. I feel like Nick Popovich should know better. Like, with how long he's been in the game, with how much he's seen in the game, and again, with the history between Kawhi and San Antonio. Like, that's a response you should expect. But no, they're booing my former guy.
but that makes it worse. That makes it worse that you're saying to your own crowd not to boo an opposing player. Are you kidding me?
Like, again, this is Popovich with how long he's been in this league. You would expect that he understands why the fans are doing what they're doing.
Yeah, well, apparently that didn't work out as planned because Popovich pulls the PA mic and starts speaking to the crowd like it's the Malice at the Palace all over again. Try to tell the crowd to stop booing and throwing stuff or whatever. Dude, like, Popovich has got to go. Like, I think he's 74, 75 years old, and he just got to go.
Well, Nick, I should say something. Not every, the fact that he took the mic, it's very rare that we have seen that. But you know what? I think not every response is gonna be like that because I think Nick to what's his name? Oh, Sam Weish with the 1989 when they're throwing the snowballs on the field, the Bengals game, and he takes the mic because the officials are gonna warn and penalize even further the Bengals, and he says the next person who throws a snowball should be out of here because he said, "You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati," and the roar that got. Like, no, I'm saying that my point is that there are times, not too often, But there are times that taking the mic and everything would be okay kind of step. This was not one of those times. This was some pretty poor judgment on Pop's part.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing that annoys me is that these fans pay money to go to games. As long as they're not hurting somebody, abusing somebody, touching somebody, you want to boo, you boo. As long as you're not screaming profanity at players and you're not threatening to hurt a player, boo all you want.
Right, and I want to be careful with the way I say this because we talk about it several times in our show that when we talk about First Amendment rights, that it's only when it comes to government action. Like you kind of say, if you're using profanity, if you're throwing slurs around, obviously the arena is a private arena. Teams could be privately owned. I mean, almost all the teams are privately owned. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers an exception, but you can be thrown out of an arena. But if you're not doing any of that and you're just booing a player because, whether it's because of the history of Kawhi or whether it's because he's just a member of the opposing team, that's your God-given right. Boo all you want.
And some of these players are sensitive. I mean, LeBron got mad at that female fan in the front row. If you remember when we did that story, when that fan went viral,
Oh my God,
and
I forgot about that.
like they have money and they were sitting in the box, and LeBron basically had security throw them out. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you know what? As long as you're not getting death threatened, or like your kids, or they're not threatening your kids, or they're not doing something stupid like that, you shouldn't be allowed to get fans thrown out of an arena at all.
Yeah, no. All right. Nick, take a breath. Because it's time. I don't know. You know what? I have one sound effect I could play, but I think I want to do a little change here, Nick. Because this music is not for Denver Broncos, who are red hot right now. No, no, no. There's one team that this is now for. Mr. Morgasen, I think it's time for an ETB Sports edition of Jets Country. Take flight.
RELAX.
Ah!
Yes.
Ah!
Because, Mr. Morgasen, the 21-day window has opened for Aaron Rodgers. Somehow, some way, the belief is that he's going to play in a game this month.
You suck!
3
Done.
months after tearing his Achilles. This man is insane. Now, what I'm saying right now just may be fact because, we've seen him, the immunized comment, the fact that he calls Kelsey Mr. Pfizer, or he holds up his foot to the camera to show, the COVID toe or whatever it is, or the fact that he went into the darkness, his ex-witch girlfriend. Maybe it is kind of fact that he is kind of crazy, but 3 months after the Achilles injury, you don't recover from an Achilles in 3 months. This is insanity.
Of course it's insanity. This is all for the clicks, all for the news, all for the publicity. I mean, maybe it's all that ayahuasca he's probably smoking also. But get rid of this guy, please. I don't want him in this organization anymore. And by the way, anyone who tries to accuse me of being a Fairweather Jet fan, say it right now to back me up. I did not want Aaron Rodgers in this organization from the time he entered in here.
You didn't. You had your concerns about them acquiring Aaron Rodgers, which is all fair. Although you also have not been the biggest fan of Zach Wilson either. So my
quarterback situation is a train wreck.
So my question to you is, how much longer is it going to be before Trevor Siemian is starting a game for the Jets?
Well, we already had Tim Boyle.
How about we go get that guy from...
What?
How about we go get that guy from a few years ago? The guy you went down to your fourth stringer, and his name was Fails. His last name was Fails, because that appropriately can go with the Jets season this year.
This you can't win this one. I mean, the Jets organization is a failure again. Thanks, Woody Johnson, worst owner in the NFL. I mean, you can't win this. You have a decent wide receiver core. You have a decent defense. Your defense has got railroaded by Miami on the first ever Black Friday game in the NFL. You got a fucking Hail Mary at the end of the half, which you couldn't defend. 99 yards.
And I've never seen anything like it. It's hysterical. I cannot believe my eyes when I saw that. It's like I had a bad feeling something was gonna happen, but it's like he gets the interception. It's like, okay, you could just tackle him. All right, stop playing around. You can tackle him. Then he gets the 30, the 40, the 50. Jets, tackle him. And he just goes and goes. Jets, what are you doing? It's like that old Jersey Shore meme. I think it was Snooki. Jets, what are you doing? Jets, stop!
No, but obviously because I'm watching this game on Amazon, even though I realized after the fact I could have watched it locally and I didn't remember. But all of a sudden I'm watching this with Al Michaels and Holland to the 50. Excuse me, Holland to the 40, and Holland to the 30. I'm like, oh god, this is the Jet season. Here it is in a nutshell. Runs it all the way back for the TD, and I'm like, yep, there it is. That's the game in a nutshell.
All I'm gonna say, right. Nick, all I'm gonna say is be prepared for Football Friday tomorrow, because I might have a little surprise for you.
Oh no, I already teased ahead and looked at it.
Yeah, so to you, to Nick DiMartino, the other Jets fans out there might be a little surprise tomorrow on Football Friday.
And who would have thought the Broncos would have played better than the freaking Jets this year?
How are the Broncos over 500? How are they on a win? How are they the hottest team in the NFL? They're gonna actually make the playoffs at the rate they're going.
I don't know. The NFL doesn't make sense, and that's what makes it entertaining, because you get teams that are supposed to be massive playoff teams that are disappointments, and then you get teams that are supposed to be disappointments like the Broncos that are going to make the playoffs.
But Broncos Country Let's Ride isn't fun to do anymore. At this point, I might as well just replace it with Jets Country Take Flight.
Well, the Jets are losing every week, so I guess that makes sense.
Speaking of losing, how about we go to another sort of loser, Nick? How about we go over to Jim Irsay?
All right. Let's go over to what's that dumb saying? Don't throw stones at glass houses.
Don't throw stones when you're a house of glass.
Oh, I thought it was they say you shouldn't throw stones at glass houses. I thought, but
All right. Well, Jim Irsay is a house of glass, so obviously he is human. He admits it, and we saw that with the 2014 arrest. Yeah, he had the DUI. But now in a recent interview, does he have a heart? And if he doesn't have a heart, does that make him human?
Well, if he doesn't have a heart, then he's the Tin Man. But my point is that so he gets arrested in 2014. I can't believe we're almost 10 years to the anniversary of that DUI arrest, by the way. Gets arrested. Now he comes out in an interview and says, oh, well, they're prejudiced against me because I'm a rich white billionaire. Well, or better yet.
Bravo, Mr. Irsay, and the recipient for dumbest comment of the year.
I mean, you can't make this shit up if you tried. I mean, it's one of those things where you're just like, all right, Jim, what dumb thing are you going to say now?
I mean, he failed the DUI protocols. He failed the tests. Obviously, he was drunk. Obviously, he's getting arrested. What did you think was going to happen?
Well, he thought he was a rich white billionaire, so maybe he thought he wasn't going to get arrested.
Did you fail? What did he do? Did he try to slip the police officers a Washington instead of a Benjamin?
Better yet, wait, if he's referring to himself as a rich white billionaire, does Jerry Jones go in that discussion too?
What do you think, Mr. Morgasen?
Hey, Jerry, have you ever been arrested for DUI before?
I'm the owner of the richest team in the world.
Wait, you didn't answer my question. Have you ever been arrested for DUI before?
No.
Oh, God.
How about we test you for drunkenness with some of the takes that you make, Mr. Morgasen?
I wouldn't be talking, Jerry. Oh, my God.
At glass house, Mr. Morgasen.
How about you go win a Super Bowl, which you haven't won since the 90s?
How about you go fuck yourself?
But long story short, this story is dumb. His whole existence is dumb. And we can see with all the situations he's had with Jonathan Taylor, who, by the way, is now probably going to be out for a significant amount of time with a thumb surgery issue.
The Colts season is basically done anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you could basically say it's over.
It's all over now.
It's all over, but the singing.
And all the money that Irsay has. Which,
No, he doesn't
the only
care.
thing at this point I can say, the only thing I can say at this point, Morgasen, is,
brother, this guy stinks.
Yeah, pretty much.
When Dan Snyder sold off the Commanders, it is widely believed that he basically passed the torch of worst owner in the NFL from himself to Jim Irsay.
Jim Irsay, Jerry Jones.
Excuse me? How about my team gonna go with the top wild card seed in this playoffs, and we're gonna go win that Super Bowl? How about them Cowboys?
What's next? You're going to say Dak's the MVP?
Damn right.
Yeah, okay. And pigs are going to start flying.
Playoffs, I might easily give him the hook after this season.
See, that's more the Jerry I was expecting.
How about you move on to the next topic, Mr. Morgasen, because I think the next topic is a very important one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hey, Jerry, let's talk about your team on Thursday Night Football. Week 13.
Oh, yes, the Dallas Cowboys.
Seahawks at the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys are an 8.5-point favorite. Since you're the owner, I'm going to go first because there might be some bias here. Let's see. No Kenneth Walker III, which is a big loss. So you don't have their big-time running back. Geno Smith's got the elbow injuries. He did not look good against the Niners. The Niners absolutely destroyed them. Their defense is not great. I don't think they're a good road team either. So everything's going against them here. This is pretty simple. Take the money. Jerry?
Simple. Mr. Morgasen, I would call this elementary. Let's see. Dak Prescott or Geno Smith. One is, as you said, very banged up and isn't doing great. And the other is Dak freaking Prescott. You got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. They can't hold a candle to CeeDee Lamb. They don't have Ken Walker. But you know what? Don't damn matter because we got Tony Pollard. Our defensive unit is fantastic. What Seattle got? They got nothing. This is elementary, Nick. We could give this game to a preschooler and they could accurately predict this. Take that damn money. How about them, cowboy?
Oh God.
I think I broke him.
Oh man. I don't remember the last time I heard this much Jerry in a single episode. Oh. All
That's
right.
what you get for having all the cowboy talking here.
Yeah, well, good luck. You're not making it to the Super Bowl. Anyway, next topic. Let's go to the NHL because we don't do this very often. The NHL tells
Ooh, a happy story, yes. Wait, it's a negative story. Damn it.
the NHL tells Marc-Andre Fleury not to wear a Native American heritage mask he planned to wear to honor his wife. Now, you were explaining to me that his wife is part of an indigenous tribe. Is that what you said?
And it's just tribe in Canada, I believe.
Okay. And he wanted to honor the tribe she was in by wearing a specially made goalie mask. And the NHL basically said, if you wear this, we're going to fine you.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Nick, this is not the first time that we have experienced this with the NHL, because basically they forbade most, if not all, of the Pride Night kind of wear that the NHL teams could have. And they basically are just, they're not allowing for too many special causes and such. And it's kind of infuriating because we've seen, maybe you could try to help me word this thing, but with the MLB, the NFL, the NBA, we've seen openness to causes or to, LGBTQ and pride. We've seen it with Native American heritage, but the NHL just can't seem to get on board with these causes.
Yeah, so with the other professional sports, I feel like they understand that certain groups that are disrespected deserve more attention when it comes to these topics and details of these situations. In the NHL,
And it wasn't
what?
And it wasn't like he was going to wear this all season. He was wearing it for what? A game, maybe two? It was a way to honor his wife.
But you have to remember one thing. All the professional leagues, they have these weird rules when it comes to wearing
The
certain
uniforms.
uniforms, headwear, anything that has to do, like, I don't know if you saw the story I did last week with Nick D, but with one of the Ball brothers who had the tattoo, and it was on like between the neck and the ear area, and he had to cover it up because it was his logo to a brand that he owned. So he wasn't allowed to have the tattoo.
Which
They were
is not an
initials, but they were initials. No one would know that it's a brand.
Oh.
And that's where I lost my mind, because you're telling me you could tell just by looking at initials that that's a brand? And
I mean,
wait a minute, my favorite person of all time came out and talked about it too.
Oh, did he?
I think we have a banner for him too.
Do we have a banner for him somewhere?
It rhymes.
Wait, are you talking about the NBA one?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
You mean the hashtag #Bass?
Yes, my favorite PR man, Mike Bass. And basically, I don't have the full quote off the top of my head, but basically say, well, you're not allowed to have any brand as a tattoo, whether it's on your body, in your hair, by your ear. Are you kidding me?
But I think this is a little bit worse, Nick, because, like we said, this is about, showing tribute to his wife and her Native American heritage. It's about We've already seen the controversies, as I already alluded to before, with the NHL and LGBTQ
The
right
wraps
style
on
now.
the hockey sticks.
It's like, right. Yeah, the wraps on the hockey sticks. Exactly. It's infuriating how the NHL seems to be, for as much as they say that they're open to everything, for as much as they do that, I don't know if I think they still do. They do some sort of collaboration with Bell in February about the mental health. Like, for but the
That makes no
causes are just
sense, though.
I just don't get it. I just don't get how the NHL can't be more. They act so they say that they're so open-minded, and yet they act so closed-minded.
They're not open-minded. They're old-fashioned. They're out of tune. They don't care about personal or public causes. Why do you think the NHL gets the only time you hear anything about them is with negative stories? Because they don't do anything to help people. They don't do anything to say, hey, you know what? We feel bad for some people. Let's help them. And that's what the most frustrating part of this whole situation is, that they don't care about the LGBTQ community. They don't care about the Native American community. All they care about is the bottom line.
Of course.
Ooh. That's all they care about. It's not about saving lives and helping people. It's about making money to the NHL. That's it. Right. That's what sucks. It's an unfortunate situation, and you know what? That's part of the reason why I won't get into the NHL a lot, because I don't respect the way they run the management and the commissioner run the sport.
Nick, it's funny because with all the controversies we've had over the last few years with MLB, NBA, and NFL, it seems like Gary Bettman, who for the longest time had been considered the worst of the sports commissioners, is now considered basically the best of the four. And yet, there can still be crap like this that happens, that it's like, we still have ways to go with the NHL.
And the worst part is, he made up a lot of ground when Roger Goodell was going through all his shit. When Adam Silver right now, who can't do anything right, is digging himself a hole. Rob Manfred, I don't think we even need to say anything. So
Rob Manfred is the hole.
Right. Well, just add the A word in front of it, and that's what he is. But my point is that Gary Bettman had plenty of opportunity to make good with sports fans, and he didn't do it. Didn't do it at all. You cause a whole issue with the LGBTQ community, number one, by saying that they can't wrap their sticks with the rainbow wraps or whatever they call them. And now you're saying that Marc-Andre Fleury can't wear the mask to represent his wife. What happened to athletes are supposed to be given a little bit of autonomy to represent who they are?
Not allowed. Not allowed.
You know what? And I don't know. This is part of the reason why I don't have respect for the NHL, because, again, they pick the weirdest times to put on their defensive-minded hats. And no, I'm not talking about on the ice.
I know what you mean. Well, like you say, it's all about the bottom line, which may be why, Nick, this last story here. I mean, maybe this is why Sports Illustrated has done what they did. So, if you have seen, or for those of you who have not seen, Futurism posted a story about a Sports Illustrated piece that was done by an individual by the name of Drew Ortiz, who had the following biography. I'm taking this right from the Futurism article. Drew has spent much of his life outdoors and is excited to guide you through his never-ending list of the best products to keep you from falling to the perils of nature. Nowadays, there's really a weekend that goes by where Drew isn't out camping, hiking, or just back on his parents' farm. The only problem, outside of Sports Illustrated, Drew Ortiz doesn't seem to exist. No social media presence, no publishing history. Even more strangely, his profile photo on Sports Illustrated is for sale on a website that sells AI-generated headshots, where he's described as, quote, neutral white young adult male with short brown hair and blue eyes. So, apparently, Mr. Morgasen, according to this article from Futurism, a couple of Sports Illustrated articles were AI generated, and the authors and their profiles they used AI generated headshots. So, and when Sports Illustrated was questioned about this, they took all the stuff down. Is this the future of journalism?
Wait. Time out. So when they were questioned about it, they just removed it?
Yep.
Really?
So, Nick, we've talked about the future of journalism and the media industry and the concerns, whether it be more influencer based and content form based than journalism based, or the idea of people, media people actually being fans of something and eliminating neutrality. I mean, I just had a talk with former professors today about like how objectivity seems to be blurred and it's more about fairness right now. But I mean, is this going to be the next big fear that we have, where writers like myself will just be removed so that way they can make the room for AI generated content?
By the way,
This is AI taking over the world.
I would disagree with that sentiment, actually, that you just said, that it's about fairness. I would actually say that it's more about opinion and clicks than it is about fairness and giving accurate information.
Well, my point, let me not go on that point. Let's focus on this point, because that's my big concern right now is that, I mean, you think about all the AI, how the evolution like this whole year of artificial intelligence, be it ChatGPT, be it Bing, or anything like that, and the fact that the way that AI is being used and the more AI models that are out there, like you think about all these industries, communications and media and marketing and publishing and advertising, even stretching to education. Nick, this is scary. This honestly is something scary that it feels like, at least for the writing side of me, like if a company is so focused on its bottom line, doesn't care about the content that's publishing out there, especially like in your words about being so focused on the clicks, it's like, okay, we don't need you. We don't need these many writers because we can just get AI generated content.
Now, I want to be careful when I say this, but for writing for websites, because I'm not going to say, I'll try to leave names out of it right now. But when you write for websites that you get paid by the click, let's just say, and they could literally automate that and say, well, we don't need you anymore. We'll have a robot generate opinions on its own, and we don't have to pay it. We don't have to pay it.
I mean, Nick,
we just tell it what to do.
We have said since like the 70s and 80s, it's like, hey, they'll push you out the door because and say a robot took your job. Well, Nick, about 50 or so years later, that's becoming quite literal. Robot really could be taking your job.
But here's the problem with that. So just because a robot can write 10 to 15 articles a day on its own, you're missing something from a real writer that a robot can't do.
Exactly. You are missing. You were going right to the point, which is something that I was always taught when it came to concerns about. I don't want to say AI because AI wasn't to the level that it was today when I was in
Automation.
school about 10 or so years ago, but automation, but the human element. When you see these nice big featurette pieces, like at least on the TV side, you see with a 30 for 30, or you'll see a big feature piece on, any of these players and their background and the struggles that they went through. The human element and the style of writing and some special styles of writing, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of some very famous authors like Ray Bradbury or George Orwell, the kind of authors that I'm doing with my students now. Like, you're not going to get that from a robot. The only way you're going to get that is
No.
from humans.
I mean, I'll give you an example from my end of it, because like you were talking about more automation, robotic for journalism. It's happening more in radio now, and that's why radio is kind of dying. Is like I can tell you from first experience, I produced a nationally syndicated radio show, which basically is a filler for hundreds of thousands of radio stations around the country. That's what stations are doing now. They don't want local radio anymore. Like, the one place where I worked, like it was bought by a billionaire, so he could afford to just burn money to death because he doesn't care if the money he's paying for political views and content. But you're now seeing stations picking up syndicated radio shows. What's the problem with syndication that local doesn't have? Do you know?
That there's not that local flavor that can appeal to more people.
Right. So syndication is nice. It's a bigger audience, but you
Basic and
can't.
bland.
It's basic and bland, and you can't market it to a target audience.
Well, Nick, don't worry, because one of these days, Empty the Bench is going to produce a show that is all AI generated.
No, don't say that. Oh, that'd be scary if we could create robots of ourselves that could say all our sayings and stuff.
It would be. So I think the conclusion of our show should be AI generated. Don't you think?
I'll pass on that one.
Good. Yeah, I pass on that too. Let's be actual humans, actual communication skills, and thank everybody for watching this edition or listening to this edition of Empty the Bench. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified of everything here at the Empty the Bench Network. Every episode of Empty the Bench, Monty Moments, a Football Friday, the new show Moving the Goalposts with Nick D and Liam. So much, MMA Outsiders, so much more. YouTube.com/ETV Network. Hit the subscribe button there. 644 subscribers and climbing up to the 650 and the 700 mark. We thank you all for your support. We hope you continue to support. Go to etvpodcast.com for more information about the network and for some content, blogging content from some of our contributors. Also, make sure to take Empty the Bench Sports on the road with you. Listen to us on Acast and our other audio-only platforms. If you are listening on those audio-only platforms, make sure to go to our YouTube home and subscribe there for the video feeds. Even if you don't want to see Nick Morgasen and I's ugly mugs. Make sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, now known as X. I haven't done that in a while, at ETB Sports. Same Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for the network at ETV Network. And you can follow myself and Nick on our personal social medias. You see our little handles at the bottom of our little name tags here. And yeah, so that's going to do it. And little spoiler alert. It is coming to December, so it is coming to that end of the year time where our usual December break is coming up. So 2 more episodes for the year, and then we get to take our little break.
Holy cow, we made it to the end of the year? What happened?
It's the holiday season.
Wait, did we jump in a time machine from January to now?
I know. It's funny how quick this year is gone, but it's the holiday season.
And Santa Claus is coming down.
Let's not get copyrighted. Come on.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. For Tom Albano, I'm Nick Morgasen. We'll see you next week, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.